And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's TicketyBoo.
TicketyBoo.
TicketyBoo, TicketyBoo, everything's TicketyBoo.
TicketyBoo, son. TicketyBoo.
TicketyBoo.
Hello and welcome to another episode of TicketyBoo. I'm Andy, and as always, I'm here with Iona and Ian. And this episode is one for people who look like they're coping fine, but are actually quietly knackered and always trying to do life properly. We're talking about the lessons that teach you how to slow down and enjoy life a bit more. I think one of the things I've noticed is most people aren't genuinely lazy. I have met a few lazy people, but most people aren't genuinely lazy, but they're just a bit done in with trying to do life properly or figure out the way to do life properly. So from the outside, it may look like somebody's absolutely smashing life, but actually on the inside, that's not their experience. Can you relate?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can as well. I think, perfectionism is one of the most socially accepted ways to just wipe yourself out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like to think of perfectionism is fear in disguise. Because what will happen if I stop? What will happen if I slow down? And as we know, last year, I literally fell to my knees. I was just trying to hold it together. I don't think I was trying to be perfect, but I wasn't taking time to relax. It was just one thing after the other other.
But what is perfect? Yeah. Define
the highlight reel, I guess.
Yeah, the thing that you're trying to achieve, I bet you, whatever level you think is perfectionism, you'll find a way of getting there and thinking of something how it could have been better and all the rest of it.
Yeah. I think perfectionism, to have a good life and to be aware and relaxed. So when I had my radio show a couple of years ago, I interviewed Richard Rudd of the Gene Keys. And we ended up actually just talking about one of his books, which is tiny, and it's The Art of Contemplation, and it's about slowing down. So it's not about meditating, because I know not everybody wants to do that, but it's about contemplating what you have and where you are. He would literally just go to the airport and get in a queue, and to queue up and just stand there and just be aware. Now, I couldn't do that, but it was just about taking the pauses and noticing what you notice and meandering.
You just said this a moment ago in another episode, how you get asked a question and you pause to contemplate, and then people are going, "What's the matter with you? Why aren't you answering the question?" I'm contemplating, I'm thinking, where you've obviously, I'm guilty of as well, just firing an answer back. Because you feel like it's immediate urgency that you must respond, and the first response very often is not the right response. Putting that pause in. So do you think good enough is never really good enough for a lot of us?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm getting to the point in life where I'm more comfortable with it's done and that's good enough for now.
Yeah.
And it can be refined and improved as I move. I think there's been a lot of points in my life, using a term that Ian uses a lot, of getting trapped in the state of inertia because I couldn't get it to the point where it was ready to execute, so it never got executed. And I think, good enough feels like, that'll do. It's not that at all. It's it's most people go, that's great. And it's our own internal standards that actually hold us back. You can think about it with anything that we do. If I look back at some of the original early content I put out or some of the early training I did, you look back and go, God, that was crap.
Yeah. But without you doing that, you would never have built it up to get to where you are now.
I remember that first time I told you that you needed to get lives on socials, and you were like...
I'm still having the trauma therapy.
But you're doing it, and you do it consistently.
Yeah, I do, but I don't I put a post out the other day where I've actually been very quiet on social media because I found that social media was dragging my mood down. I felt like I was complying to the algorithm. So I felt it was controlling me rather than... And I just went, I'm just not going to post. And I'm not actually, I suppose because I've put a lot of work in and I've done a lot of posts, I've shifted my mindset of I'll post when posting feels right.
Yeah.
Rather than posting because I feel like that's what I should be posting.
Well, it's getting rid of the shoulds.
Yeah, and I think when you first start, whether you're marketing a business or yourself or you're putting yourself out there is, at times you do things when you don't want to do them. I think when you get to a certain point there, you can go, I've earned the luxury, the right to back off a little bit and do it when it suits me a bit.
Well, in your personal circumstance, there's such a backlog of information that you've put there, and such a backlog of content. There's never short of anything. So you don't really need to be putting yourself out there every day.
Yeah, it's a word we've used today a lot in the episodes we recorded. I had to change my perspective of how I viewed that whole situation, because that pressure, I felt it was coming from the outside world, but it wasn't. It was internal. It was inside me. I was creating that pressure, I call myself a bit of a late developer. I pick up on these things way after they've been running a long time, but that's the way it goes. But I just feel that life just generally works better when you just pace yourself at a better pace and take that pressure off.
Yeah, definitely.
You just feel happier, don't you?
Well, and I think that's what we're referring to as well when we think of balance, because if we don't have that well-being balance that we're hinting at here, then that's where we have burnout, overwhelm, like we're trying to overpower our nervous system. We get stuck in that, which has actually been cropping up in our last few episodes.
Well, it has,
really interesting, isn't it?
For me, pressure was confused for progress.
Yeah. Well, people do. They wear pressure like a badge of honour.
Yeah.
And that's very different from productivity. And it's the same as talking about perfectionism. To me, that's got to be one of the biggest reasons for burnout.
Well, you collapse under your own expectations, don't you? It's not like everyone's going, come on, Ian, do more, push harder, strive, do better. It's us. It's us on us.
Yeah, well, that expectation aspect, because it's not just work-related. Like, I think one of many reasons, but one of the reasons I got postnatal depression was my own expectation of being a mother was so unobtainable. Like, it was impossible to meet myself at my own expectation. So I did not succeed in what I thought it was going to be like one particular way, and it shows up in so many areas of our lives, our own expectations.
So you thought pushing harder is what being responsible looks like?
Yeah, and I just I can't. So I shake my head now at me from 22 years ago. I'm like, I cannot believe the expectations I put on myself. I would never have expected that of somebody else as a new mum. But me, like absolutely, I've got to be up here. If you're watching on video, you'll see I'm putting or listening way above my head.
Raise the bar really high.
So high that I can't obtain it. And so I was setting myself up for failure.
But then you didn't know how to relax and switch off without feeling guilty.
No, and then
that's a big thing.
That is a huge thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like a sense of guilt that stops you. From just switching off.
It's really strange how, isn't it? You feel like you just stop, and you're like, everything I've done is just eroding in front of my eyes, and in reality, it's not. It's fairly robust.
Yeah.
And I don't mean stop like you don't do anything. I just talk like you take your foot off the gas 40% and just allow things to just be and breathe.
Yeah, we've spoke about this in the past, of giving yourself permission to stop without feeling guilty. Yeah,
I think we just burn out because we just care too much about outside stuff and expectations. I think that's the rub, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, for years, I mean, I did think about other people from the outside, but my response from when I was growing up was perfectionism. So it put myself under so much pressure, stunted the growth of my business, made my own life more difficult than it needed to be. So now I'm kind of over that, but now I'm more responsive to other people's what I think other people's expectations of me are. So it's gone from an internal thing almost to an external thing.
Yeah. So you were striving for this perfectionism.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you had like ridiculously high standards that you expected of yourself, or actually now when you step back and look at them, were they harsh standards that you had for yourself?
They were harsh, but what it is I was delivering to a standard that I was always picking faults in. It's like if I'm just an example for if I'm converting a flat, I'll go in there and it's not a flat. It's a space that's full of things to do, problems to fix, and then I'll go away, just focusing on these little bits, this tiny little chip of paint in the corner or whatever, and then I'll go away and then I'll come back. Somebody else will come back to it and go, wow, that looks amazing. And then my mindset will change. But
okay. Well, I don't want to sort of interrupt you there, but my question to you is, in that process, are you trying to be perfect, or are you trying not to be criticised?
Or do you have high standards?
I do have high standards.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's good.
But
Yeah.
then what happens is I go out there and then I see what other people, I go and see what somebody else is doing. And I realise that I'm really critical over what I'm doing, but it's actually head and shoulders above what somebody else is churning out. But I don't look at that other stuff that they're churning out and go, what a load of crap. I mean, sometimes I do. But generally I wouldn't stand there and focus on I wouldn't micro-analyse every tiny thing of theirs like I do with mine. And I'll go and go, yeah, that's sound. I could do it better, but...
So is this going back to, this is where we're competing with ourselves?
Yeah, it's where's that baseline set and who sets that baseline. And the trouble is, when you set your own baseline, sometimes it's just totally out of squiff with everybody else's reality.
Well, there's another question you have to ask yourself, and sometimes it's not a nice one. Who's benefiting from you doing more? Because it's not always you.
True.
I know in areas of my life, there were people benefiting from me for doing more, and not that I did it to get anything back, but they did bugger all back the way. They just took more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, they're sitting there going, this is great. And you're like, oh, I'm knackered, I'm burnt out, I don't want to do this anymore, and they didn't even give you a pat on the back, or not that you do it for a pat on the back, but you kind of get what I mean.
It depends what environment you're in. And it's healthy to have a pat on the back if you're in a work environment, definitely. And
Funnily enough, teaching in a very high level corporate situation yesterday, and every single one of them said, yeah, it's nice to have a pay rise, but it's even better when someone goes, great bit of work, well done, recognition.
yeah.
It really goes a long way. So I think we're definitely not talking here about lowering our standards. No. I think what we're doing is about talking about lowering the costs of our standards and expectations that we place upon ourselves.
Yeah.
Because realistic expectations change everything. I can never put out the perfect video or perfect piece of content because I'm balancing many different things in my life that I have to do. If I was just a content creator and I didn't do anything else, of course I could invest much more energy in it. But disappointment comes from us internally not being able to meet those expectations. And I'm a lot better now going, stop it. You're overcomplicating this whole situation, and clear space. You can get on and do the other things that you need to do in your life. I think, if you're listening to this episode and life feels a little bit messy and you'd like to make it a little bit lighter, ask yourself, what are you expecting of yourself right now? And would you expect that of someone you care about?
Yeah.
That's two things to really think about, because sprinting through life isn't that impressive, and it's certainly not sustainable. And pacing yourself, learning to pace yourself and slow it down is a skill. It's something that you need to practice, because then life just becomes a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And enjoyable. No one gives out a medal for leading the most frantic day ever.
And do you know what? Sometimes, do you think you're setting the bar? You're actually, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you run around at 1,000,000 miles an hour every day, but people don't see that you're burning yourself out. They just go, it's okay, Andy will do it, it's okay, Iona's got that. So you wind up picking up everybody else's slack, regardless of, and it becomes an expectation. So then people have that expectation of you. Right? Sometimes you just have really productive days, and sometimes you have bad days. But if you set them really high-level productive days as your benchmark, or somebody else comes that to be their expectation of you, it's unsustainable. You cannot go at 100 miles an hour 100% of the time.
I completely and utterly agree with you. I think if you're listening to this episode and you're absolutely battering yourself for not doing enough, maybe today's win is just stopping for 5 minutes and not turning everything into a productivity task.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll have a day where you get 90% productivity, but then you're absolutely battered. So the next day you get 20%.
So the peak and trough.
Wouldn't it be better if you was to just run at a steady 60 and give a consistent output without being of detriment to your own?
Yeah, there's no reward for being permanently stressed and wired, is there? There's not. And I think, one of the things you can do listening to this episode is just slow things down, and sometimes try not to fix things. Mm-hmm. That's one of the big things I take from life. Not everything needs to be fixed. It can just be observed and monitored and watched. And doing that slowly can lead you to a place where you can maybe start to do life, I don't want to use the word properly, but maybe a bit better than you're doing it right now. And if nothing else, at least you can stop pretending to be relaxed and chilled out where you're clearly not relaxed and chilled out and enjoying life. Yeah. Cool. Well, hope that hit the mark with some of you. As always, if you are watching on YouTube, click that bell icon. If you're on Spotify, Apple, please subscribe so you get notified. We put new episodes out every Monday. And as always, thank you very much for watching and listening.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the TicketyBoo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.